Hello and welcome to the shop. If you follow my channel, you know that a little over a month ago, I had an issue with my lathe. The control box, the variable speed control box on the lathe went out. I posted some videos and people in this group who are far better at electronics than I am, have a wonderful knowledge of them, sent me some suggestions on things to try. And I tried those things, we got the answers, and it came to the conclusion that there were probably one of four components that were most likely the culprit. Now I ended up buying a new control box because I needed to get turning again, but I committed at that time because I had so much help. I wanted to show these people that I appreciated their help and that I was listening. I went out and bought those four components. Now two of them have already arrived, and that's what we're going to do today. Is we are going to, one at a time, we're going to change one component, we're going to test. If it doesn't work, we'll change the second component. Hopefully we get a working control board today. If not, the other two should be here within a week or so, and we'll put those in. And if we can get this board working again, the same people who helped me out with determining which chips we believe are bad also told me where to get a dipole switch, which means having a DC motor on my lathe, I should be able to wire a dipole switch into this control board and reverse my lathe. That's going to be a fun video. I'm a little nervous to do it with the working box because I don't want to screw something up and ruin that box. But to have this board sitting around that I can't hurt, it's already damaged, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So what we're going to do today is I've purchased these little NTC chips. I don't know what they are. I'm no electronics person, but here it is right here. Okay, and I received the large MOSFET chips. And on the back of this heatsink, you've got a large one here, a little tiny one in the middle, and a medium-sized one over here. Now, those two haven't arrived yet. I'm expecting those within the next week or so. But today, we're going to start by replacing this one. We'll test, see if it works, and if it doesn't, we'll replace the big one and see where we're at the end of the video. I want to start off by saying that I do not solder every day, so my soldering skills are going to leave a lot to be desired, and some of you guys are going to cringe when you see them, so please bear with me. But I've identified this chip, and here are the two solder points on the back of the board. What we're going to do now is just attempt to loosen up the solder, melt it a little bit. There we go. She's loose. She popped right out. All right. Slide this one right in there. Kind of bend the legs just a little bit so it doesn't slide out on me. All right, what I'm ready to do now is I'm going to take this over to the lathe and we're going to plug it up and test it. I'm back behind the lathe. I've already loosened things up so that it would be a little quicker. I'm just going to basically slide this into here. Whoops, I'm sorry, that goes this way. There we go. Tighten her down. Make sure we have a good connection. Grab, whoops, not that one. That's the power out to the headstock for the RPM control, and this one controls it through here, so I don't need that. All right, we now have power, and here comes the test. Let's flip the lathe on. Okay, I've got power at the headstock, but as I adjust the pot switch here, I'm not seeing any movement at all on the motor, so it looks like that was not the issue. So let's go back and replace the large MOSFET chip. I'm a little disappointed because I really thought this might have been the culprit. I don't know how well you can see it, but right here from this leg all the way across the chip, there's a crack. And when I didn't see that until I got it off the board, and I thought, well, maybe, just maybe that's it. But I guess it could still be that chip, or it could be a combination of this chip and one of the MOSFETs. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to work to replace the large MOSFET chip. There's a screw that holds it to the heat sink. I'm going to go ahead and remove that screw. There we go. Get that out of the way. I'm going to leave the heat sink attached. What we'll do is we'll remove the solder from the bottom. Then we'll pull the chip out. We'll clean the heat sink off. And then I've got some of this, it's called ultra high density polysynthetic silver thermal compound. We will apply some of that to the back of the new chip, run the little prongs through the holes, and then we'll put the screw back in to hold it in place while we solder it to make sure everything fits nicely. It looks like it's loose from the, in the computer field, sometimes I remove heat sinks from processors and they'll be stuck, but this one you can see it wiggling a little bit, and move that up. It's not stuck, which is a good thing. All right, let's go ahead and get the solder removed from the back of this, and it's these 4 solder points. There we go, and she fell right out. Okay. Pay attention to how it went in there. The little cut corner is toward the front. What I'm going to do is get a paper towel, and I'm going to clean off all of this old grease, and then we'll put some new on the back of this, and we'll put it right into place. Nice and clean. That's what we're looking for. Get a little bit of this grease. Doesn't take a lot. Okay. There we go. Put that there. Go ahead and set the top back on just to make sure, because that stuff gets everywhere. Now, see if I can. Okay, that's good. She slid right down through the holes. I'm going to drop the screw in. This will ensure that it does not move. All right. Now let's put a little solder on the back side. Hopefully this goes a little smoother. Let's test her out and see what happens. I'm going to start off by making sure the switch is in the off position. We're going to line this up. Okay, get some power here. And let's see what happens. Once again, I have a light. Let me pull the camera around and show you what I have. Hit the switch. I can see the lathe light up. But as I come over here and I turn the dial to adjust the speed, I'm getting no juice at the lathe. Well, guys, we didn't do so well today. I am happy though, because we have now eliminated 2 of the chips as being the problem. There are 2 more MOSFET chips, and probably 75 to 80% of the people who understand electronics pointed to those MOSFET chips. So it could be one, both, or maybe there's a combination. They have to work in conjunction with one another. I don't really know, but what I'll do is I'm going to put this aside, and when I have both of those other chips in my hand, we'll come back, we'll shoot a second video where we'll replace those 2 chips. Hopefully we get this thing working. If not, then those of you who are my electronics friends, I'd love to take some more suggestions on you, because as long as it doesn't get crazy expensive, I'd like to keep purchasing parts and trying different things in hopes of making this work, because it's actually kind of fun for me. I'm learning quite a bit. Like I said earlier, please don't be too critical on my soldering skills. I solder on very rare occasion, and normally it's just to solder 2 wires together. So I don't do anything really crazy with electronics. But I really appreciate you guys watching. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon, and have a great evening, everybody.